Yo, what is up, everybody? Where am I? Here I am, Randy with Nerds Templar here with ya. Episode 18, live viewing of Beyond Lumina, the fantasy space story created here at Nerds Templar. Just get all my ducks in a row here. All right, turn off the music now. All right, so yeah, here we are. It's been a long time coming. Finally getting almost 2/3 of the way now through the story. I'm a little further behind than I'd like to be writing it, but that's okay because it's all already outlined now and planned further and further along. So instead of, I guess, getting like one episode done real quickly, I have the last several, and they're all kind of getting done at the same time. So I think we'll be fine. Super busy here behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, I guess. So yeah, that is my excuse, but that's okay because we are, of course, we're gonna be on schedule to finish this up in the first week of December. We air Wednesday and Saturday mornings when this goes live. 9:30 a.m. is when the video drops. We start this again at like 10 after 9, maybe quarter after 9, and we'll give a quick, previously on, and just fill people in who may be watching live in the future, and maybe want that because they didn't binge all the episodes together, so they might need this. Who knows? Maybe in the future, if we do some remastered version of the whole series there with like, better voice actors and better timed music to what's happening, and maybe even some picture scenes. Doesn't even have to be moving pictures, honestly. But if we had some more visual stuff happening, I think that'd be kind of nice. We can somehow swing doing some kind of like background picture that may switch every so often, based on what's happening, and maybe still have the captions over top of that. I don't know. Maybe that's something we could potentially do in the future, and then along with all those other things, yeah, who knows? And then maybe also have an official like previously on Beyond Lumina for before the episodes. But we will do it ourselves for now. That's half of what we do here on the live viewings. The other half is really just for future VOD purposes. If any lovers of the series in the future perhaps want a little bit of extra stuff, extra content, some more tidbits that you wouldn't receive obviously from just watching the video itself. Get the extra live content, especially because you won't see pictures like these AI generated images in the normal one, which we have here all over, strewn all over the screen right now. Excuse me. Aezic, of course, at the top here, and we got Zario next to him on the left, just to the left. We got Vala too, to the right of Aezic, the three main characters, if you will. Other sort of main characters, though, next to Vala, we got Photoglaus over here. And then we got to the left of Zario and then Artis, the other Kostian. Let me put the spoilers thing up. At this point, yeah, you're not going to understand what's happening if you're just tuning in to episode 18 here and haven't watched any of the other 17 episodes. It'll be obviously confusing. It's a serial. That's how these things work. So bear that in mind. And where was I here? Trying to find what I'm looking at. Oh, I was just looking. Okay. So yeah, those are all those guys. And then we have over here, we got Hawk, the other semi-main characters, Valanth, Mecha, and Argyle. We didn't fit Filini and Uzi on here yet, but we haven't been checking in too much with them. They're on Kostia right now. Kostia, the homeworld of Photoglaus here, and young Artis. Grim over here is the Ascendancy turncoat who actually saved the Kostian hostages whom he helped take hostage. We've got some extra people down here now too that we've met. In fact, recently, down at the bottom right, less recently, we have sorry again, got something in my throat. We got Chief Oshu of the chief of the Inigonians. And we have his which we just found out the names of his daughters, Kita in the bottom right and Katash in the left here on the left. I just realized you can't see my cursor if it goes behind one of their pictures. And then on the left here, on the bottom left, we have some of our newest characters who've arrived on scene. We have Kama, the Ravinian rebel, along with his rebel allies, Barnes down in the bottom left, and here next to him on the right is Proust, the you could say like the backline commander whom Hawk, Valanth, Mecca, and Argyle first met whenever they ran into them in the battle for the canyon. You could call it the second battle for the canyon. A lot of different landmarks now. Now we're getting, again, spoiler alert for anybody who isn't somehow aware and is watching this. Because if you're watching this, I assume you're one of the few people, at least for now, who have actually listened to the story. And so, yeah, spoilers. We had basically at this point know that a war has begun, a war of some sort. We have the Ascendancy, of course, attacking Ravina again for the second time. And so you start, as the story progresses here, getting a lot of these different battle landmarks throughout that you can trace back sort of what has happened through the war, which is what happens, I guess, as wars progress, when a couple skirmishes or battles turn into an outright war and then go on, and at least in fantasy world. So that's where that's all at. So they've all met up with the rebels. They won the battle at the canyon at the very end of the story. And then also we have on Enagon that pre-space world, which is in so pre-space world being one that doesn't have space technology and thus isn't supposed to have any contact with the advanced space worlds, or the major powers therein, which would be the Free World Alliance, the Royal Ascendancy, and the Tansorian Federation. But lo and behold, the Royal Ascendancy is on Enagon already, and one of the things they discover. They then are infiltrating the Ascendancy facility, trying to rescue Zario, and also with the natives trying to liberate them from the Royal Ascendancy, now that they know, and now that they're kind of thrown again into another war, as Aezic reminds himself that he's getting into another one. And so that's, again, where we left off with them in the midst of the siege on that facility on Enagon. And again, that would be Aezic, Vala, and then the chief here, along with Ankh. We couldn't fit him either on here. I could have put him maybe right here, the whatever you want to call him, the next in line, next in charge, below the chief of the warriors of Enagon. Ankh there, he wouldn't fit. But yeah, so that's these three. All these on the right here are on Enagon, including Zario. Just the four on the left here are on Ravina, including these down on the bottom left, and then on the bottom right, again, Enagon. And again, Zario is captured, and that is one of the prime objectives of Aezic and the crew, to rescue him from the Ascendancy on Enagon. Basically, that's what's happening right now. I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about just yet. Vala was secretly approached finally by Maloon, and her subordinate Corporal Dodds finally landed secretly on Enagon. Vala found them, in fact, and we weren't privy to the conversation they had. But Aezic does note, we get to find through Aezic's experience that he doesn't think that Vala has been acting quite the same since their scouting trip before this battle had actually started. So yeah, there might be a couple other things, small things like that. We have Philly and Usion and the rest on Kostia still. Well, just them and the Kostians, of course, on Kostia. Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. That's pretty much all the main characters. So I suppose we don't have to go into too much more detail on anybody else. It's nice now I don't really have to go into the other thing. We will, after the stream, after the video, after we watch it, we'll go to the big page. I'll show it real quick here, so you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen this before, you go to the big page here of all of the AI generated images for all of the characters, so we can check them all out, and I'll give a rundown, of course, again, of where everybody is. And yeah, I also maybe talk about some in my, and perhaps in the future, some trading cards that I may create to sort of give away, maybe as incentive for some things based on our Beyond Lumina characters here, since we have the printer to do those kinds of things. All right, that all being said, we are a little bit behind. I mean, we're a little bit ahead of schedule for once, like 5 minutes. So that's pretty much perfect. That means we will live here, which is nobody watching, but whoever is, I guess in the VOD, you can know that we watched 5 minutes before the release. And I will mention one more thing. Yeah, we have 30 episodes total. So getting toward the conclusion here. Getting there. Turn off all of these before we start, of course. And again, beginning of December, we're going to finish. And we will be coming back with some other stuff. I may even post if we have enough of an audience by then. I don't think we will. But if we do, I might post something in the community tab, question-wise, of maybe what you would like to see, which of a list of short stories, which would be like a 10-part thing maybe, that you would maybe like to see written next and done next. And then there's also going to be a non-Beyond Lumina story we're probably going to fit in as well. And we're probably going to start doing these in the evening instead. Open the mornings up for maybe more TCG collection streams, do the evenings for other stuff, and then maybe, I don't know, we'll see. More streams, yay. That's about what it's going to come down to. But we're going to have another different video series. It's actually going to be maybe like more like rated 10, age 10 plus. This story is, of course, rated 13 plus because it's a little intricate. It is a story that deals with war and, you know, some violence. So, not that things like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and whatnot don't. It's basically what you're dealing with. You're just dealing with that. You're just listening to it being told to you, and you know the original vehicle of storytelling, just telling it straight up. The original vehicle of stories, I should say, just telling it straight from the mouth, right? But of course, you're listening to the old media through the new media. But either way, yeah. So I guess that does make it perhaps seem more graphic to some people. Maybe I don't know. Maybe actual graphic things seem more graphic to some people. This is just words, so maybe in some sense it is better than those things like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, which I for one loved whenever I was around, 13, even younger than 13 for sure. So anyway, just keep that in mind. But mostly it's 13 plus because of the intricacy of the content, I would say. But still, I mean, you don't really need to be following along and catching every little twist that's about to happen. That's not necessary. You can just enjoy the story for what it is, and enjoy being surprised whenever the twists come about. All right, but I guess that's it, guys. Let us, without further ado, begin episode 18 of Beyond Lumina, Requiem. Foreboding name, perhaps, to say the least. Turn this up before we start and switch us back. You never get to hear the cool opening that I have here because I always forget to turn the volume up. So here we go. Beyond Lumina, Episode 18, Requiem. Sergeant Major Ravim, report, called a stern voice. These Ascendancy ships came through your sector and you retreated before calling for aid. Now we've lost the orbital position without a fight. What do you have to say for yourself? Sir, Ravim began to his commanding officer. I apologize, but we had no chance of victory with the amount of ships they sent in the initial wave. All I could do was think of the safety of my crew and retreat. Our positions looked too scattered to convene in time to drive them off. I thought our best chance was to regroup here and defend our ground position until reinforcements can come to flank their position in space. That wasn't your call to make, the third person in the room with them retorted. I can't believe you'd go over Captain Vanguard's head like that. It's all right, Merviver, said the captain to his lieutenant. On Lumina, I don't know why you decided to act without at least telling me, Ravim, but we've known each other long enough. I trust you were acting as you thought best. I just hope we can find a way out of it now that they've breached our orbital defenses. Ravim looked to be contemplating this for a moment, then said with a sigh, I understand, Captain. So do I. However, the two of you are not even going to make it out of this room. Quickly, he pulled two concentrated plasma pistols from their holsters and shot both of his superiors down in cold blood before they had any time to react. His heart racing, Ravim tried to gathering himself as best he could and move the bodies of Captain Vanguard and Lieutenant Merviverick out of sight. Just then, someone tried making contact with him. It was Master Sergeant Maloon. Commander Ravim, come in, sir, she said. Yes, Sergeant. Ravim tried to answer with a steady voice. What is it? You have another update for me already? Yes, sir, sort of, Maloon replied. The Corporal and I have left Inigon and are on our way back to Ravina, but we saw an incoming ship before we left local space, and there was no doubt in my mind it was a Ravinian ship, most likely coming for Aezic Zin. Ravim thought hard for a moment, then smiled. I see. Thank you for the update, Sergeant Maloon. That may be useful information indeed. Maloon then asked, Sir, what would you have us do about the Ravinian ship? Surely you don't want them to get to Aezic before the Alliance does. It's all right, Ravim replied. Let them continue onward to Inigon. Don't try to stop them. Just return here. We have new orders to fulfill. Copy that, sir, Maloon said and cut comms. She wasn't sure what to make of it all. It didn't make sense to put so much effort into trying to bring Aezic in, just to allow him to be saved by someone else. And where did that Ravinian frigate come from anyway? As far as she knew, there were too few Ravinian military left to manage a vessel like that, let alone think about arriving at a place like Inigon just for one man. It was all so strange, but she trusted Ravim. Meanwhile, Ravim opened comms with someone else just after Maloon had called. Yes, sir, he started. It's done. And I have even better news. They finally made contact with Zin. The din of battle rang across the mainland coast of the pre-space planet of Inigon, as Aezic and Vala, along with the chief and his cohorts they had met on the neighboring island, stormed the secret Ascendancy facilities where Zario had been taken. Within the facility, the fight raged on, and Aezic, after finally gathering himself following a particularly nasty episode of headaches, looked up to see that Chief Oshu had saved his life by parrying the killing blow of Master Dark, one of the Ascendancy leaders present. Lucky for him, Oshu saw Aezic go down and was able to deal a critical blow to Low Master Call and knock him out cold. Go help the others, the chief instructed Aezic. I'll take care of him. But Chief, Aezic tried to respond. Go, Oshu repeated. You won't be of any use here in your current state. He clashed once more with Dark, who was growing frustrated with the fight the two warriors were putting up, and over the fact that his subordinate had failed and now lay in a crumpled, slumbering heap, very ill-befitting one of his rank. Using on Oshu the same sort of tactics he did on Aezic, Master Dark said, Perhaps it is you who ought to go, native. Perhaps your little village isn't as safe as you think, especially with all of your warriors fighting here. What does that mean? Aezic asked him. Didn't you find it a little odd that such a facility was manned by a High Master, with only one of his masters here? Surely you aren't that naive, Lieutenant, Dark added chidingly. Lumina, I should have known better, Aezic thought. Then he said to Oshu, You need to get back to the island. All of you, hurry. Let us handle the rest of these guys. Oshu was infuriated by the taunt, however, and clashed with the Ascendancy Master with full force, surprising him and setting him off balance after a swift combination of attacks. Then the chief struck with vengeance and slew Master Dark, who doubled over at first, trying to hang on before finally succumbing to the grievous wound. Seeing two of their leaders go down, many of the Ascendancy soldiers began to retreat farther into the facility. Oshu didn't want to leave Aezic in their current mission, but he was concerned about his people's safety, especially that of his daughters. There were still some warriors and guards back in the city, but they couldn't be certain how many Ascendancy were attacking based on what Dark said, or whether he was even telling the truth at all. Aezic didn't want to take the chance. Oshu glanced at the Ascendancy leader, High Master Ren, but Aezic said, "I can take care of him. Don't worry about me." Then Ankh, nearby, dueling with Crag, told his chief, "Go back. We will stay with the Outlanders." The chief was slightly reluctant to agree, but he didn't feel he could delay any longer. "Fine. Good luck, and return quickly yourselves," he said, and retreated with most of the native warriors back to their island. Ankh had by then dealt several critical blows to Crag, who remained fighting through it. But once the situation grew dire, and Ankh's own concern for his people grew, he held nothing back, and attacking with all his skill, might, and courage, slashed at Crag's right arm, cutting through the synth plate and rendering the appendage useless as the Ascendancy warrior dropped his concentrated plasma blade. Realizing he was defeated, Crag also fled the battle with the few soldiers who remained back into the compound. High Master Ren's heightened anger seemed to darken the very room as his plans were unraveling. With a menacing roar, he shouted, "I'll deal with him myself then, you fools." Drawing his own concentrated plasma blade, he approached Aezic. "You die here, you worm." Aezic looked at Ankh and Vala. "Go, find Zario and get out of here. Hurry." They hesitated only a moment, but obeyed the order, and along with the other native warriors, stormed into the inner parts of the facility to search for their ally. Aezic then turned to High Master Ren. "Don't think about trying to stop them," he said. "I don't care about them," Ren answered. "Only about taking your head." Aezic didn't get why Ren would personally dislike him so much, but he didn't really care. "Then come and try," he replied, brandishing his own blade, as the two elite warriors prepared to do battle to the death. Excuse me, voter," said Grim, the traitorous Ascendancy soldier, to Glaus. He had just come looking for his benefactor after Glaus had himself gone in search of one of the natives who might know how to speak common. He figured checking around the royal palace, if that's what it was the best plan, so he hadn't gone far. "Yes, my boy," Voter Glaus addressed the young soldier. "Is something wrong?" "I can't say for sure," Grim replied, "but I just received an attack beacon through my gear. If it's real, it has to be close for my equipment to pick it up. I think they might be coming here. Do you think the others lost so quickly?" The news was unsettling indeed. Glaus knew they had to act. The situation was too tense to do otherwise. "Come," he told Grim. "We need to warn the natives." As the two left, Glaus then remembered that, despite what seemed to be warnings from their father to stay in the palace, he had seen the two Inagonian princesses again secretly wander into the forest. "Let us hurry," he added. Lumina began to fade beyond the rugged Ravinian horizon, as the ragtag group of rebels recollected themselves after the battle, and formally met the mercenaries that showed up to help them. "So," the rebel leader named Kama began, once Hawk, Mecca, and Argyle reunited with Valen. "Who exactly are you? Don't get me wrong, we appreciate the help, but help isn't something we come by very often here anymore." "You might just have to call us your new best friends," Hawk answered amicably. "As I told one of your officers here, we're a group of mercenaries from off-world who happen to know a lot about what's going on here, and are probably even more wanted by our mutual enemy than you are." "Enough said," replied Kama. "You had me at mutual enemy." You mind sharing what you know? We can head back to our hideout nearby and come up with a plan to stop this invasion. The sky remained full of Ascendancy ships in orbit over Cronus Prime. Actually, we need to head down south to Bikaron right now, Hawk answered. We just came from Animov, where these fake soldiers were housing a bunch of citizens. They destroyed the facility, but we were able to save the people inside. Now, though, they're trying to get whoever else they can to head down to Bikaron, we assume to a similar facility. The Animov facility is gone? Kama asked in shock. We tried to infiltrate it quietly ourselves, but we weren't able to get anyone out. We were at least able to snag ourselves a new ship, though. We weren't sure exactly what they were doing up there, but if you say they're trying the same thing in the south, then let's go bust it up before it even begins. My thoughts exactly, Hawk replied. We will take the bikes down and meet you there, I assume after you take care of this fella. He referred to the captured Lowmaster Gore. Is your ship close by? Always, the rebel leader said, then activated a communication device. Hey, Green, we need a pickup. We've got business in Bikaron now. A moment later came the voice of a young woman. It's about time, Kama. We've been worried about you guys ever since the firefight stopped. We're on our way. Several more moments later, a frigate-class ship appeared from a nearby canyon and hovered its way over to the small militia. As it approached, the mercenaries looked up in surprise. Hey, Hawk said. That's our ship. Kita and Katash, the daughters of the chief of Inagon, had snuck down to the coast near the underwater cove's entrance. They were experts at maneuvering past the guards at this point, having done it so often. In the past, the girls would look for different animals, or find flowers or berries to gather, or just run through the magnificent forests of their home. Nowadays, Kita was mostly interested in following Ankh, with whom she was set to make a life bond, making him the future chief of their people. Katash still just wanted to follow her sister, though she found the adventures much more boring now. But today was a little different than usual. Normally, they weren't worried about what may happen to Ankh and their father, and all the other warriors that had gone to battle some foe from an unknown world. Today, the channel between their island and the mainland seemed to hold a dense and menacing pall, silent but crushing, of the fear and rage that boiled over in battle. But it was closer than they thought. Moments later, they heard what sounded like one of the guards crying out in pain, then a few crashing noises and the thud. That was followed by several other similar occurrences before the girls saw one of the guards for themselves lying dead on the forest floor. Intense fear instantly gripped them both as they made a mad dash back toward the city. More warriors were appearing from time to time, coming toward the coast from their home, and they saw several fall immediately as they defended Kita and Katash from the oncoming menace that remained hidden in the thickets, in the onslaught of the blasts of light that slew their kinsmen. They ran as fast as they could through their forest home, which now seemed a strange and unknown place in their hysteria, with branches and thorns scraping and lacerating them as they went, though they were too frightened to notice. Just then, the flashes of light reached the girls. Kita, her eyes half closed in terror, tried to run even faster than her legs could take her. She tripped over a log, then glancing behind her saw that Katash wasn't there. Looking farther back without stopping, she saw her younger sister lying unmoving on the leafy bed of the forest floor, a black burn in the center of her back. Kita stopped dead in her tracks, forgetting the danger that advanced closer every second. She fell to her knees in shock as the Ascendancy soldiers came into view of her. She didn't notice. She also didn't notice when they began to fire again. But another man, dressed in only half of the enemy's armor, jumped in front of her, blocking with his arm a blast from the space weapon. Ah! He cried out in pain, as the fiery shot seared through his armor and charred his flesh. It was grim. At the same time, a younger man and an old man in long robes also came trouncing through the forest. The old man, it was Glaus, shook Kita and shouted at her, trying to get her to snap out of her shock. "My lady, we must go, please," he kept yelling over and over, until Grim just grabbed the girl and the three made off with her toward the city once again. The few remaining warriors who were still coming from the city saw them, and luckily had already seen Glaus and Artis in the city several times, to know that they were allies, and so the Inagonian warriors covered their escape with the native princess. The warriors were slowly able to begin halting the advance of the Ascendancy soldiers, though they could only do so much. Once they saw the plasma-burned body of Katash, their chief's daughter, however, the blood of the natives boiled, and their rage began to turn the tide of the battle. They fought back with every ounce of strength they had, determined to not let the despicable Outlanders take another step toward the rest of their people. Back and forth the momentum nevertheless shifted, as the rest of the Ascendancy forces finally arrived in the forest, and by sheer numbers began to overwhelm the natives once more, despite their heavy casualties. Just then, from behind the native lines came such a roar of pain and anger that all stopped for a moment, for fear of some massive, wild beast about to burst into the frayed clearing. Even worse for the Ascendancy, it was Chief Oshu and more of the Inagonian warriors, and the chief had just found his youngest daughter. Then Oshu did indeed burst into the clearing like a massive, wild beast, but with even greater ferocity. He slew several soldiers in only a few swings of his blade, rampaging through their back lines with the rest of his men behind him. The warriors defending the city were emboldened and re-inspired, once more turning the tide of battle in favor of the natives. High Master Rend was furious as he mustered all his skills to do battle with Aezic. Rend had heard that the Alliance lieutenant was extremely adept at swordplay, but he was taken aback at his prowess in reality. The High Master himself was known for his elite abilities with the blade as well, but he wasn't as young as he once was. Aezic had mostly recovered from his headache in the previous battle, mostly due to adrenaline, and he felt like he had High Master Rend on the defensive as the rest of his allies stormed the facility to rescue Zarya. As the two broke from their clash for a moment, now that the room was mostly quiet and devoid of life besides the two combatants, they heard a noise in the distant sky like an approaching ship. Rend smiled wryly. "Well, Lieutenant," he mocked, "looks like your time is up. My reinforcements have arrived. Did you really think we would be the only Ascendancy outpost on this backwater planet?" Aezic gritted his teeth in anger and frustration, trying to think of an answer. "We might get trapped in here," he thought. "Our only chance might be to take this facility and defend it for ourselves. But being that it's an Ascendancy outpost, that isn't a very safe option either. Chances are they can trigger a remote self-destruction sequence." He didn't know what to do. But then, the loud tearing of metal and a chain of explosions rang down the coastline. Both Aezic and Rend stopped in confusion, wondering what had just happened, until a huge Ascendancy frigate came crashing down into the sea outside the entryway, its hull splintered with huge Aetherium spikes. "The traitorous native scum!" Rend roared when he realized what had happened. The ship had been shot down in the same manner as the escape pod of Aezic and the others. Vala, Ankh, and the rest of the native warriors pressed forward into the compound, searching and clearing all the rooms they came across, and scattering the remaining Ascendancy soldiers. The Inagonians didn't want to delay any longer than necessary, for they too wanted to return to defend their island from whatever the potential threat Master Dark had mentioned. The group met little resistance as they advanced deeper and deeper, until finally they came to a large laboratory of some sort. As soon as they entered, the lights and all the machinery flashed brightly to life, startling Bala and the natives, until they realized they were motion activated. In the center of the room, on a cold metal table, was an unconscious Zario, bound ankle and wrist by synth cuffs. Rushing into the room, Bala located the controls for the cuffs, freed him, then ran to see if he was all right. The natives were about to hoist him onto a stretcher they found nearby, but he started to come to. Ugh, he groaned, shaking his head slightly. He was aware enough to recognize the Free World Sergeant. Bala, he said groggily. Bala, I think we have to go somewhere. I can't remember, but it's bad. Just rest now, and keep still, Bala instructed him as gently as she could in their haste. The natives are going to get you out of here. We're leaving right away. You got to be careful, Zario managed to speak again. The ascendancy they have. I know, Bala answered somberly. We saw it all on our way here. Well, we saw something. But it can wait. We've cleared the facility for now. We can make it out without a problem. Just rest now. The group hurried their way out of the facility the same way they came, and in a short time re-entered the main hangar, where Aezic and High Master Ren continued their duel. Both had taken significant damage, and Ren had aimed to fight him to the death. But once he saw the others arrive with Zario, he knew he had lost. Curse you all, he bellowed, smacking away Aezic's blade and making a hasty retreat. This isn't over, Zin. You can be sure of that. We will meet again, and I will have your head. He didn't wait to hear Aezic's response, instead quickly retreating into the compound. I'll be ready, Aezic said to himself, disengaging his concentrated plasma blade, as Bala, Zario, Ankh, and the other natives reached him. Come on, let's get out of here. Exiting the facility, the others saw what had become of the Ascendancy reinforcements. Calavites! Ankh exclaimed with hope. The battle had again spilled from the other side of the compound toward the beachhead, where the group was greeted by what looked to the Outlanders like a commander from a different native tribe than the one they had already met. He approached them without hesitation, as Ankh did him, and they spoke quickly in their native tongue. Ankh, referring to the off-worlders, must have said something indicating he could speak freely in common, so the commander told them, We saw our Selvite neighbors here engage these Outlanders in battle, and though we have been aiding these wretched people since they arrived, we have not done so willingly. We are happy to fight now at your side to rid our world of them. However, they are more widespread here on Kalava than you may realize. It won't be an easy feat, but we may yet achieve victory if we are able to unite the other tribes and work together. Especially, he now addressed Aezic directly, if we have our own off-world support. The time has indeed come to destroy these intruders, my brother, replied Ankh warmly. But first we must return at once to aid my people. The enemy has snuck into Selvas while we fought here. Go then, and hurry, said the commander. We will hold the foe here on our shores and let no more cross to your island. Make haste, and may the warrior spirit go with you. The group quickly made their way across the channel on simple Ascendancy vessels, their anxiety and tension increasing as they caught sight of the other Ascendancy ships already on the opposite shoreline. As they got closer, from the other shore came a massive explosion that shook their vessel and sent huge waves toward them. Just hold on, everyone, Aezic called out. The ships will make it through. We can't do anything about that yet. Just hope that our allies over there are safe. It's too late to go back now. The ships did hold up, and the waves sent them toward their destination a little quicker, though it shook up the passengers quite a bit. Making it to the other side, though, It was not long before the din of the raging battle was heard, and the wrath-filled words of the natives could be discerned. Nearly all at once, with loud lamenting, the entire group of native warriors wailed in sorrow and anger. Aezic, Vala, and even the half-conscious Zario were startled by such a show of emotion so suddenly. What? What is it? Aezic asked quickly. He had to ask several times before finally Ankh gave a choked answer. They say, the chief's daughter, she is dead. Waits patiently for artwork to arrive at the end of episodes. All right, that is episode 18. Whew. What do you think, you VOD watchers, you future VOD watchers? Yeah, a little bit of confirmation there at the very end of a sad day. I did say in the past, not get attached to any characters because this is not a Hollywood production here. Everybody's lives don't get saved through every single event. So, yeah, Sydney, that's right. This is like this fantasy is like reality. Just like Oshu himself said a couple episodes ago to Aezic. Till reality kicks in. That's not what he said, but that's what it's basically what he said. So yeah, let me throw up here real quick, and let me throw up real quick here the spoiler thing, and let us then jump into the big page of bases. Woo! Oh, yeah, you may have noticed there something. Oh, maybe you didn't because it's on the wrong there. Oh, what's that? Interesting background there, huh? One of my own screenshots I just randomly found on my computer. I'm like, oh hey, I could use that as a background. All right, so yeah, of course we got Aezic. We know where he is. He just arrived back on the. We got names now of the island and the continent which they were just on. So actually, wait, do we have? I can't remember now if we have both the name. I think we do. At least we have the name of the people, Selvites and Calavites. The Calavites from Calaba, which is the continent that they were just on. The ascendancy facility is on. Just exploded. And then the other one is, I guess, I don't know if it was mentioned just yet. Maybe it's next episode. Selvis is the name of the island, and the Selvites then are what Chief Oshu is the chief of the Selvites. So Aezic just arriving back on Selvis, then the island, with Ankh, Vala, and the now rescued Zario. Vala, of course, is with them. Zario with them. So they're all now together again. Zario, Groggio right now. And then again, yeah, Ankh and the other Inigon natives that stayed behind to fight before returning to what they weren't sure of on their island, because again they had one of the, scroll down real quick here, not too far, make sure we don't go too far. A lot of other characters still. There's Ankh, one of the other Inigon warrior that was the second in command, you could say, to Chief Oshu. And as we also found out, then Ankh slated to make a life bond with Kita, the eldest elder of the two daughters of Chief Oshu, and of course then Katosh, the younger of the two, we heard about at the end there. So, yeah. I'm crying. Not really, but then, okay, so there's Kama. Got a hairball in my eye. Barnes, Prowse, the rebels. We heard just a bit again from them, along with I was scrolling down here. Master Dark, the one that was on Inagon, and mentioned something about maybe the island being infiltrated while they were infiltrating the facility of the Ascendancy there. And then so he was slain. Low Master Call, for all we know, was caught in the explosion because he was knocked unconscious by both of them. Not well, the Low Master knocked unconscious by Chief Oshu, and Master Dark slain in battle by Chief Oshu, the Chief. Whereas then we got Omen. We didn't hear from him, I don't think, today, but he's of course leading things on Ravina. Still one of the guys, one of the major evil players on Ravina. We got Rend, of course. We just heard about Rend on Inagon fighting Aezic, unsuccessfully able to kill him. So, in fact, it was enough of a stalemate. He was able to retreat, even though he was not happy about it. Prime Minister Sor, all these Saurians and everybody, we didn't hear from them, but we do know that they're currently, so General Gaster, the one basically the highest ranking member of the Saurian military within the Tansorian Federation. He was sent back by the Prime Minister, who's in hiding currently with the Ravinians, sent back to Sor to sort things out regarding Aezic and the Tansorian Federation's seeming pact with the Free World Alliance and the Royal Ascendancy. These guys know a lot that's happening, and so Gaster sent back to say nay to that and to make sure that the Federation instead helps Ravina, and that includes Aezic, with whatever they're doing, whatever they need. And so they're sort of making an alliance with them instead. Jay, the one that brought the Saurians up here, including Gaster, but then also with him was Sergeant Benta and Private Voss. Well, with him, they were left on the flagship with the Prime Minister, Gaster, again, back to the Saurians, and he's also hoping that he can go help with now Ravina, the attack, second attack now on Ravina by the Royal Ascendancy. So that's where everybody is again. Grim, Artis, and Glaus, the pirate personifications of Aezic, Walla, and Zario there. We'll check those out in a moment. But yeah, Glaus and the other two, again, were, if not for them, both of the chief's daughters would have probably died in the attack. But Grim, the turncoat Ascendancy soldier, did save Kita, and so she was taken back, being rescued by them, taken back to the city to be kept safe. And then yeah, there's Scumfoot and Sharptop, and of course Madame Fireblade herself there. Back whatever that was, episode 9, 10, 11. Rini, of course, back on Costia, one of the Costian citizens, waiting anxiously for the return of her father and Aezic. Dodds with his commander, Master Sergeant Maloon. Again, just heard from them briefly in the beginning. I believe that was the first little scene there. Checking in with Ravam, second scene-ish, part of the first scene, where we had Ravam. Yeah, big, I guess a big thing there, right? So Ravam's not a good guy. So apparently, it seems that Ravam's not a good guy, or was it that the others were not the good guys? Who knows? Who knows? Someone is not the good guy, though. Someone. But we did get that with Ravam, and then right after that thing happened, Master Sergeant Maloon contacted his subordinate, and she, along with Dodds, were returning to them on Ravina. And again, she saw the Ravinians, specifically Jay, Lieutenant Jay down here, coming for, she could assume, coming for Aezic and the others to save them. And so she was confused why Ravam did not want her to do something about it, and instead just recalled her and Dodds back to Ravina. Then we got Drop. Drop was dropped already. Crag was saved, at least we know, because he then returned After we knew that he was imprisoned, he was in this fight, the fight for the facility on Inagon, on Kalaba, and then he retreated with his life as well. And we don't know about Officer Nail yet here. They would be low leaders, because Drop was a leader. They would have been, I have them classified as officer because that's how they would have been known by the Kostians back when they were met. But yeah, they would be both be low leaders. Low leader Crag, low leader Nail. Again, Corporal Dodds. Did we miss anybody? That's like everybody. Abila, Lawrence, Blem, all the religious folk. Some of them, of course, not all of them, but some of the ones we met back on Kostia still, of course. Glass with us on Inagon. And there, of course, the two low-ranking Saurian military members that are still with the Prime Minister on the flagship. Maloon, again, just heard for where she and Ravim are. We have Argyle, Mecca, Hawk, and Valanth, all with the rebels on Ravina. Again, they're going down south to Bikaron, to the other place where the new fake Ravinian compound, to safe house, if you will, bunker was being built. They know already what happened in Anamov, and they're going to make sure it doesn't happen again in Bikaron. And they're going down, of course, with Kama, the rebel leader, and his rebel battalion, Barnes, Proust, involved. Now we met those guys again. Already saw them on here. And there's Gore, the one that was captured by them, by the rebels, on Ravina. That would be Master Omen's subordinate, and Master Omen just left him to die, really. But they didn't kill him; they just took him captive because they're not crazy people. They didn't, he had technically surrendered, even though he then afterward tried to kill Kama, and was knocked unconscious for that. And of course, yeah, we know Master Dark is gone. Low Master Call, we can assume, is gone. The Doctor, we don't know what happened to him, but we can assume that he fled the facility well before it was infiltrated, to the point that they found Zario in the laboratory. And so we can assume that he's safe somewhere on Inagon, the old crazy doctor. And that is all we have for now. Don't mind that scary top of head down there just yet. Did we get everybody? Azor is, again, we do know that he's on his way to Ravina with the rest of the Ravinian military that still survives, that has been in hiding. Basically the rest. Some of them are going to remain on the flagship for defense, but most of it is going to return to their homeworld of Ravina for this battle. Artis, again, one of the ones back on Inagon that helped with Glaus and Grim save the princess, because they had they don't know what to call them. The chief's daughters. Is that everybody now? I think we pretty much got everybody. Other than, of course, we still have Philini and Usion back in Kostia still. We will hear from them soon. I thought we would hear from them today. It is going to, I guess, be another episode. And that is everybody. That's where everybody is. Got a lot of characters now to talk about it. And that's just the ones that have pictures. Not including the 3 pirate personifications of Aezic, Vala, and Zario. We have 1, 2, 3. I think Call was last, right? No, Doctor was last. 44. So 41 characters with pictures, but there are more characters. A few more named characters, and then, of course, maybe other than that, a few other non-named characters that really don't matter, I guess. Unless they'll be named later, who knows? But yeah, all right. That's all I got. As always, we got Wednesdays and Saturday mornings is when we do this. We usually check in the stream about 10 after 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The video drops. The new episode video drops at 9:30 a.m. We get here a little early. We do the little behind the our previously on, at least what I can come up with right beforehand. Do that for about 5 minutes or so, by way of introduction, all the other intro stuff, and then we just watch it live like we did today. Yeah. So Wednesday, Saturday, that's when we do that, and so it will be episode 19 on Wednesday. That's crazy. Almost 2/3 of the way through now. 30 episodes. It's 10 pages written each. So, and it takes what, maybe 25 to 30 minutes every episode. So it's a 300-page story altogether. This book one, or what else would you, season one, you could say, I suppose. The Book of Aezic is the name of it. So we will have more, and like I mentioned in the beginning, I am going to be probably the next Beyond Lumina story release is going to, it's not going to be a book 2. It's probably going to be, I might actually try to write more of a book 2 before beginning to release it, even though it's already more fleshed out and it's not even beginning to be written stage than this was. The first book was when I started writing it, because I kind of just started writing it to see if I could do it. If I could just start writing a story and have it work out. And it is. I had landmarks I wanted to hit, milestones, if you will, events. And of course, I had like a ending pretty sort of fleshed out. So, and then I just went from there, and it's working out. So we're going to continue with this, but then the rest are going to be more fleshed out probably than that, because they already are. Like I said, they're already basically outlined if I wanted to. But it's going to be a short story, probably again 10 episodes, so a third of the length of this, so 100 pages or whatever. 10 episodes, yeah, not bad. And maybe they'll even be a little shorter. Perhaps we won't stick to the hard and fast 10-page rule. Maybe we can even do a 9-page one or something. But yeah, that's the goal, and I will probably post toward the end of the series. I don't know if I'll get any votes on it. That'd be great if I did, but if not, whatever. I'll just pick one. But I will post, and maybe if there's only one vote, then I'll know which one I should do next. But I'll post a few different options for short stories that we can do next. So one of them, one obvious one, if you're following along with the story, which if you're still listening to me talk right now, I hope you are. If not, why are you here? See, I have my notes and spoilers up here on the other page. Future. It's not what I wanted to. Wait, shorts. There it is. Okay. Yeah. So the biggest one would be, of course, the adventures of Zario and the Fangcrest mercenaries. You could say the name of their ship, Fangcrest, the one that they just found as being piloted by the rebels that they just met when they thought it was gone. So that would probably be the most obvious one. But then, of course, there's plenty of others. There's the story about what happened with Azor, Aezic's brother, in the fall of Ravina in the very beginning, like how all this came about. Because obviously, again, these people that we're meeting now, a lot of them, the Ravinians, some of the Ravinians, and these other guys, they know a bunch of stuff already. And they've known it for a long time. So why do they know all of it? Well, that's what that short story would be. Then we have like Vala's homeworld, Requiem. She talked about the civil war there. We could always just do straight up Vala's past, Malun's past. Could always do that too. Could do any character's past. Aezic's past would be great, obviously, being that he's the main character. Zario's past would be, of course, the first one we mentioned, the adventures of Zario and the rest of the mercenaries. So really, any origin story, I suppose, could be one. Even speaking of origin stories, the origins of the Ascendancy or the Alliance or the Tansorian Federation, three major powers. Do any of those. Could do Kavos, the Saurian, the young Saurian private. He talked a lot about, well, he didn't talk about it, but we heard from his point of view him thinking about the Saurians and the Saurian wars, ancient Saurian wars and stuff, and his ancestors. So that was another one that could be done. What happened on Inagon before and during the Ascendancy's arrival there? We know that's there. Of course, there is a mention of a planet. It's a pre-space planet known as Redrinian. I'm not gonna. It's back in episode, like Glaus mentions it, back in like episode 9 or 10, and I'll just let you, maybe as a fan of the story, go back, or just maybe you already remember the reference to Redrinian, and so maybe you can. You're not looking at what I'm looking at. Sorry, you don't see that I have highlighted here. a name of the name of a potential short story that deals with it called A Holiday on Rodrinian. So that was one potential that just would just kind of be a standalone thing. Could be there's plenty of those though that we could do. Ankh and Inagon, advance of Ravina into the space age. So okay, so those are just some options. I'm gonna probably just give like 4 or 5 to vote on, and that'll probably end up just being like Zario and friends origin story, the mercenaries, how they became mercenaries, what happened to them on their homeworld of Dalsine, and then we'll do that. Vala's past, Aezic's past. I think we'll probably hold off on Vala's past. You could probably do Aezic's. So probably Zario's, Aezic's, and maybe some other things we'll throw in there too, potentially, that could potentially be done. I would say, oh yeah, those two, what happened right before this story, so kind of like the Aezic Zin story, but not like his origin story, because that would kind of coincide with Aezic's being that they're brothers. And then maybe the fourth one would be, I just had it here somewhere. Those three, and then the I don't know, one of the other ones. Those three and something else. All right. But that's for the future. And then, of course, I mentioned we're going to have another story that's going to be for younger audience, and it may be a little less episodic, serial like that is, or like continual on itself. So something you could tune into maybe at any time and be like, oh, that was a nice story, you know, something like that. But it'll still have character progression, those kind of things. Things will still be happening throughout the story to give it that extra level of interest. Is what I would say. But unlike this story where you can't just tune into episode 18 today and understand what's happening, and you know, you can, I guess, get maybe a tiny bit out of it, but you're not going to get much because it's going to be so confusing. This will be, again, for a younger audience, and it'll be more standalone every episode. But again, it'll still continue on itself. But that'll be fun. That will be coming December or January. I may take the rest of December off to kind of prepare for all of the story and next stories that'll come out. Unless I use that time to get through that Beyond Lumina short story. Maybe we could even do that, because that'll maybe take a little less effort. But then also then through December, that might be when we try to restructure the rest of the stream schedule, so we can have an extra Pokemon TCG collection day, maybe an extra non-Pokemon TCG collection day, which would give us 5 different TCG collection days. That's every day except Sunday of the week would be we're opening something. In the new Pokemon collection stream, it would probably be only like 1 or 2 packs on that day, and then we'd probably check out like the store or some of my own already collected stuff or something like that, just to have some fun. So it wouldn't be anything too crazy. And then the probably the second non-Pokemon stream, the one would be Lorcana, and I wish there was something else I could put with that. I just don't know what it would be. That's why I can't really figure it out right now, what I would do 2 streams with. If I'm thinking of just doing one, you know, keeping it to the 1 stream a week for the non-Pokemon TCG stuff, and almost doing like a different thing every week of the month, because we could probably do 4 to 5. We could probably do 4 different things, and then if we have a 5th day of that week of the month, then we could do sports cards for that day. You know, we do either NFL if it's during the NFL season, or NBA if it's not the NFL season, pretty much, is my thinking. So maybe that's what we'll do. That would be Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh, Union Arena, Bleach, and Star Wars Unlimited. That'd probably be the 4 we do. Actually, that'd probably work out. So maybe that's what we'll end up doing. It's a lot less Lorcana, but we'll probably compensate by just making the Lorcana stream the bigger of those 4 that we end up doing every time. So we'll probably just get a bigger Lorcana thing, say spend more on Lorcana than we do on those other 3. And then by way of that, we'll end up with a little more Lorcana than everything else. So that's probably the plan. That's, again, in December, we're going to be restructuring all that and hopefully getting an extra TCG Live, Pokemon TCG Live stream in. Also, check out the community tab, like and subscribe. Check out the community tab. You can see the full schedule there for every month. And you could vote on all these polls and all the other fun stuff I have on there to vote on just because why not? Just for something interesting, some other Pokemon related stuff, and the new things I'm going to post about other questions that I have for you. But one of the new questions I'm going to have for you is what potential game out of a list of 5, I think is what I can put on there. Would you, maybe I'll do 8 and I'll do 2 different votes of 4 each, and then we'll combine the top 2 of each into a final vote of 4 and see what the top one for sure would be. But what games that are non-Pokemon games you would maybe like to see me stream here. I think I can get a list of 8 that I'd be willing to do and wouldn't mind, would kind of like to do if we pick one day of the week to do it, one night or something. But then we'll still, of course, do 2 TCG live streams. And I am going to add, I'm going to start doing the Pokemon video game stream as well, once a week. Once ZA comes out, I guess. I guess that's what we're going to just wait on that now. I thought it would be coming out. What's it come out? Like January, maybe? I don't know. But once it does, we will check that out immediately and we will start playing like crazy. Not like crazy. It's not going to be, we're not going to be going nuts like, gamers will. We're just going to be going nuts, meaning we're going to stream it once a week, starting whenever it comes out. So tune in for all of that fun stuff and more, because don't forget, not only do we create our own stories here, but we create universes that are beyond Lumina, beyond those stories that then also tie into games that we're creating here. Board games, other types of strategy games, specifically card games for sure, trading card games already in the works. I have one that's I'm hoping it'll be like a collaborative project with somebody else to help me kind of springboard this entire gaming project of all my other games too. Maybe get Nerds Templar Games becoming a true company, and this might be the best way to do it through this game I'm currently developing, and have some potential interested parties to help me actually get it up and going. And I will also say it's a trading card game, so not only is it our own game, but it's not just like a board game. Oh, yay, we finally published a board game, because I could do that if I had the funds and like knew how to do it. I could do that with games I've already created. I have board games that are simple enough and done enough, fleshed out enough that they could be published and will be immediately almost once I can. But this is a trading card game, something that's big and intricate and awesome and collectible as well, because you know me, I'm a collector. I don't want to do it unless it's going to be like gorgeous. The cards have to be amazing. The game has to be amazing. So actually, come for the beauty of the cards and stay for the game itself, or vice versa. Come for the game and then stay for the beauty of the cards, or the beauty of what else there is. Who knows involved. But yeah, that's one of my big things right now. Other than the fact that I'm trying to finish writing this Beyond Lumina Book of Aezic right now. That's my primary thing. Finishing getting all the peppers and tomatoes out of my garden because it's almost too cold and they're all going to die, and getting that game all kind of fleshed out to the point where we can get it to the next level of sort of trying to casing for somebody to help us out to get it to the finish line, if you will. So that's everything that's happening here. I know it's a ton, and I love to ramble at the end of these videos. As we stare at Aezic's face, we should start looking at somebody else. Now we can look at Vala, but I don't want to be like weird. But yeah, that's that. I will catch you hopefully in one of the streams. They're all in the morning except Friday. We do in our evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, big Pokemon collection stream. The other Pokemon collection stream is Tuesday mornings. We do not stream Sunday, so you won't see me here tomorrow. Monday morning, the next stream we'll do will be the Pokemon TCG live stream. Monday morning, maybe 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but all the other morning streams usually 9 a.m. on the dot. And that'll be, of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that those happen. Tuesday, the Pokemon collection stream. Wednesday is this. And again, Saturday is this as well. And Thursday is our non-Pokemon collection stream. And that's that for now. Gonna be adding more in, as I said, in December, hopefully. But until then, guys, that's that. got some other stuff I got to do now, so I'm gonna go. Thanks for chilling though. I hope you enjoyed. We will be back, like I said, episode 19 this coming Wednesday. Hope to see you there, if not sooner, for one of those other streams. TCG Live on Monday morning, small Pokemon collection stream Tuesday morning, and then Beyond Lumina live episode 19 Wednesday morning. Until then, I'm Randy. This is Nerds Templar. Peace out. Ba, 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 da, ba, 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 ba.